moving on, the Delhi government has taken strict action against private schools, issuing orders to stop them from forcing students to buy books, uniforms and other educational material from specific vendors. This was in response to complaints received from parents. The government has emphasized that private unaided schools which operate on a no-profit, no-loss basis must allow parents to choose really where they can buy these items without financial pressure. Schools violating these orders could face action. My colleague, let's just go across, to Ishika. Ishika, the parents very relieved to hear this because, many schools they're laying down rules and regulations as to where you can buy books and other materials from.
Well, yes, Divya, not just laying down rules, but rather, in fact, forcing upon the parents to buy, the books, the study materials, and also, in fact, the uniform from a specific vendor. And now, in fact, taking that, complaints into consideration by the parents, the Delhi Education Department has now issued directions to the private unaided schools to make sure that they do not, in fact, compel the parents to buy all of these things from a specific vendor. Instructions have been given to the private schools to in fact display it on a board for all the parents to see as to what are the writing materials, the books that are required as per the curriculum and at what various locations can they be purchased from. Also emphasizing the fact that if any schools makes changes in the uniform, they will have to stick with it for at least 3 years. And also in fact, if any study material is given that goes beyond the curriculum, no added pressure should be there on the parents to buy it. In fact, joining us right now are the few parents here. I'll go across to them. Sir, in fact, you're looking at this order that has now come from the Delhi Education Department. You cannot force the parents now to buy from a specific vendor. How do you see it?
It is a good thing they have started because earlier they are not doing anything for this children's. So एक अच्छी चीज़ है जो इन्होंने स्टार्ट करी है और आगे भी मेरे ख्याल से इसको मैनिपुलेशन होना पड़ा था कि ये अपनी मनीपोली कर लेते थे. स्कूल का जो भी प्राइस बोलेंगे वो पेरेंट्स को जाके लेना पड़ता था. अब वो भी उनकी मजबूरी होती थी, वो कुछ नहीं कर सकते थे. तो इसलिए ये बहुत अच्छी अचीवमेंट है. कम से कम इन्होंने आते स्कूल में ये शुरू करी है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने कि आपको अपनी मर्जी से कहीं से भी स्कूल की यूनिफॉर्म ले सकते हो. कम से कम पेरेंट्स के ऊपर कोई ज़्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं पड़ेगा. तो
आपको फील होता था कि फाइनेंशियली एक्सप्लॉइट हो रहे हैं जब स्कूल स्पेसिफिक वेंडर कह देता था?
नहीं, बहुत ज़्यादा फील होता था कि क्या करें, अब उसकी मजबूरी है क्योंकि उसके स्कूल की इंस्ट्रक्शन ऐसी आ जाती हैं कि आप जाइए ABC एंड कंपनी से ख़रीद लीजिए. हमें वहीं से ख़रीदना पड़ता था. और अब अगर वो ना बोलते तो उससे कम से कम हर शर्ट के ऊपर कहीं 200-250 रुपये का फ़र्क होता था. वो हम जाके वही सेम चीज़ किसी दूसरी शॉप से भी खरीद लेते थे. वो उनको किकबैक था जो स्कूलों को आता था. तो ये बहुत अच्छी अचीवमेंट है जो स्कूल के लिए शुरू हुई है और मैं इसको बहुत वो कहता हूँ कि बहुत अच्छे तरीके से ये होना चाहिए. लेकिन इसको अगर इफेक्ट नहीं होगा तो फिर कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है. इसमें स्ट्रिक्ट होना चाहिए.
सर, अभी कल इनफैक्ट 24 को ये डायरेक्शंस इशू किए गए थे. आपको लगता है कि ये ऑन ग्राउंड भी आपको इफेक्ट दिखाएगा? क्योंकि एक तो साई ऑफ रिलीफ है, पर क्या लगता है सर कि कब तक मिलता है?
इसमें जो भी इन्होंने डायरेक्शन इशू किए हैं तो डायरेक्शन में भी क्लियरली लिखा है कि इनके जो भी रेट्स वगैरह होंगे वेबसाइट पे भी डालने चाहिए इनको, जिससे लोगों को पता पड़ जाए. स्कूल में डिस्प्ले करने चाहिए. इनकी मोनोपोली तो एक्चुअली बनी हुई है. प्राइवेट स्कूल्स का क्या है कि अपने अपने वेंडर से फिक्स कर लेते हैं और अपना कमीशन, अपना किकबैक जो है वापस लेते रहते हैं उनसे. लेकिन ये चीज़ मैं आपको बताऊं कि सरकारी स्कूलों में भी ये चीज़ किसी हद तक रहती है. सरकारी स्कूलों में क्या है कि सरकारी स्कूलों में ये गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है, स्टूडेंट्स को पैसे दिलवाती है उनके पेरेंट्स को, और तुम मार्केट से ख़रीद लो. ये भी दुकानें अपनी फिक्स रखती है भी तुम्हें वहाँ से लेके आनी है. मैं अभी पीछे मेरे को स्वेटर्स खरीदने थे, 6 स्वेटर खरीदने थे बच्चों को देने के लिए. तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, उस पर्टिकुलर दुकान से लाएंगे, वही हमें मैच करता है. तो वहाँ से गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के भी मेरे को वहाँ से लाने पड़े. तो ये तो मोनोपोली एक्चुअली क्या है कि हिंदुस्तान में एक ऐसी नेचर बनी हुई है लोगों की कि जहाँ से ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होता है, जहाँ से ज़्यादा इनकम मिलती है, वहाँ से हम अप्रोच करें इस चीज़ को लेने के लिए, और इससे पेरेंट्स को नुकसान रहता है.
तो आप सरकार को क्या कहेंगे? एक अच्छी से तो डायरेक्शन उन्होंने इशू कर दिए हैं, पर क्या कहेंगे कि एक टाइम बाउंड तरीके से?
लेकिन सरकार खाली डायरेक्शन इशू करती है, लेकिन सरकार को इम्प्लीमेंट सरकार को भी तो करना चाहिए ना. सरकार बताए कि सिमिलर टाइप के कपड़े कहाँ से सिलवाएंगे, वो किससे सिलवाएंगे, कैसे सिलवाएंगे.
आपको लगता है कि सरकार ने जो स्ट्रिंजेंट एक्शन का प्रॉमिस किया है, साथ ही साथ हेल्पलाइन नंबर्स भी जारी किए हैं, लगता है कि एटलीस्ट इस बार कुछ काम दिखेगा? And you'll feel less exploited.
नहीं दिख रहा है काम तो अभी मैं देख रहा हूँ काफ़ी सड़कें बननी शुरू हो गई, डेवलपमेंट नज़र आनी शुरू हो गई है। अभी देखिए यमुना भी साफ़ होनी शुरू हो गई है। एजुकेशन में भी लग रहा है कि कुछ ना कुछ डेवलपमेंट होगी, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से ये पहला स्टेप इन्होंने उठाया है जो आज तक किसी ने नहीं उठाया, तो ये बहुत अच्छा साइन है कि पेरेंट्स को फ़ायदा होगा। तो ये सब ज़रूरी था जो इन्होंने ध्यान नहीं दिया इस चीज़ पे या इग्नोर किया इस चीज़ को। ये पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट के अंदर बहुत अच्छा एक्शन है जो दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने उठाया।
So in fact, you can see the parents here. They certainly feel that it is a kind of a sigh of relief for the parents here that now these directions have been issued to the private schools. But the question remains with them as to, the guidelines have been issued, stringent action has been promised, but will it actually show impact on the ground? So that continues to be the real question. Over to you.
Right, thank you so much, Ishika, for joining us with those details and those parents. We also have another such parent, Divya Methi, who's joining us, who's filed a complaint against private schools to the High Court and the Delhi government as well. We also have Dr. Jayashree Oza, the educationist and senior advisor, Central Square Foundation, and former team leader, Technical Cooperation Fund supported by the World Bank. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Divya Methi, over to you first. Tell us the issues that the parents have been facing on this front. A move that was tried by the Aam Aadmi Party's Manish Sisodia in the past. How successful was its implementation back in 2022, and what hope do you have with this new order?
So first of all, it is very important to note that this government has come up with a very good initiative, and I would say that the direction which they come up with is a very important directions. However, if I go back to the issues which we have faced with the past government are very disappointing because you can understand a parent approaching a court is one of the last thing a parent can do because if you look at the past experiences with respect to the orders which has been passed by the Directorate of Education have been blatantly violated by the private unaided schools, and they have gone to an extent of using the coercive methods in order to get their whims and fancies implemented at the schools. When I come back to the core issue which we are discussing today, I would like to highlight that the situation is so grim that even the nursery class books are costing parents approximately 4,000 rupees, and you are bound to purchase in a form of a packet. Every year, the chapters are moved from here to there. You cannot even use the previous year books. When you come to the changes of dresses, it is getting so frequent that every year you are changing the dresses. Even you are compelled to buy the sweaters, the tracksuits, the shoes, the socks, even the buttons of the shirts have been branded with the school. How can you expect a person can go into a market and purchase such a branded things which schools are compelling? Even the situation has gone to an extent I myself has faced. Today, though my son is in class 10th, but I have witnessed this situation 10 years back when my son was in class first or in a nursery and KG. I have reached out to the principal as well as the headmistress to asking that why you are forcing such a different curriculum which is not uniform all across Delhi.
Right,
But
let's just also get Dr. Jayashree Oza. There will be no compulsion to buy from specific vendors. That is the directive that this new government has announced. Any attempt to monopolize these purchases will invite strict legal action. There are clear-cut directives in regard to uniforms, that uniforms can't be changed for at least the next 3 years and so on and so forth. Do you feel these demands of the schools can be disguised and manipulated in a way that the parents and students will find it very hard to determine?
Sure. Of course, I think this will definitely be a very, very welcome move, particularly by the parents. I do want to say, though, we need to go to more important question of, so why is this happening? Because there is a principle like, why? One is there is a perception that the private schools are really good, right? And therefore, and a lot of that is to do with because they're teaching English. I do not believe that in any state government, including Delhi, that we have essentially really given this idea with a lot of global research going on to say children learning in the mother tongue in the first few years actually make their concept strong. And therefore, a lot of the shift, even the budget private schools, not only the, these schools. So somewhere going back to, because as the parent rightly said, that once you put your child in a private school, because that's what you believe is a good education, you need to go by whatever regulations. So this is not a new issue. This has been going on for many years, for at least 30-40 years that I know of. And so not only schools will define the vendors, they would also have bookshops within and the restaurants within and whatever. And there is an expectation that you will buy things from there. Let's go one step deeper. There's also a part of the same regulation that the children who are given admission under a particular law or under RTE, their books and uniforms and all should be provided by the private school free of cost, and government reimburses it. Private schools complain that governments are not reimbursing soon enough. We have all at least agreed or come to agree internally that almost all private schools, I won't say all, but large number, is a commercial entities. And
right,
so,
putting a lot of pressure when it comes to the students, and there's a lot of peer pressure from other students, to perhaps have everything a certain way. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on NDTV.